let's see, 930 came. So this is the one that was really, really good here, right? So this was a fairly good one here. And on NQ, we also had the 90 level. I'm not going to switch just yet, but it was the same setup, right? It was the accumulation right there that they formed, and they came back kind of to it, and they literally pumped from there. And then if you guys look right here, this is also where they kind of had that impulsive candle up. They came back and they swept this liquidity sooner. You know, I was hoping that they drop it a little bit more, and I think it was me and Dirty Max that were live at that moment. They dropped it to 11, 12, and we said that there's a bounce potentially at 12. And if they don't, then, you know, I was going to go along here. And at that time, the VWAP was here as well. So that was a really good play. And then everything in between, there's a lot of plays. You're looking for massive moves that make like accumulate, explode, and you're looking for the reset to see how aggressive that is, right? And same thing now, right? We popped all the way to 44.27. The dotted lines are just support resistance, right? Besides the CPOC. So what I did here, just to kind of make myself, you know, structurally correct, and I'll show you what I did. You see these dotted lines here? Well, I didn't mean to do that. This one. You see the dotted line. Why is okay? The dotted lines are just basic support and resistance. So if I remove this thing here now, you guys will see kind of what it does. There's a range here. You see that they also had a range entrance, I would say somewhere around here. Right here, they entered, right? And then they broke, and then they created this kind of range right here. They popped, you know, I don't consider this support resistance. This is where they struggled, or maybe even lower, but this is where they came and held a few times. So there you go. And this is kind of where we're rejecting now. And then I just mark my SIG and support, right? So because we are consolidating, right? You're making lower highs, right? You're making some higher lows now. So we're in consolidation right now. So it's good that you draw your SIGs, and that's what I did here. Okay. Any questions on so far? Okay. Question for you guys. Where is your sentiment shift?
Below the CPOC?
Yep, that's correct. Just keep in mind that right below the CPOC, right, you have this PDPOC. We did not come back on this bounce at all to it. Your sentiment does shift here. So if you break 15, very high chances you're probably going to hit this PD value area low, right? And we haven't gone to the first SIG yet. So this time, if we do lose it, and this is just a typical move that they do, right? You go here, they go make lows, they bounce off of it, then they break it, and they're not able to do that. And usually this is what it leads to, right? So now if they lose this, what does that tell you in terms of buyers?
You don't have aggressive buyers.
You don't have aggressive buyers, and the sellers overtook because they're able to break the CPOC below. Right, so that's what we're watching. The first instinct here is to go long, right? And then if you don't see that working, right, then you're gonna have your stop loss somewhere maybe around here, 3 points or so. And then you can have probably a 13-point gain here if it does, right? Probably to value area high if you want to play that. So not a bad risk, but ideally we lose this or we break the 44.27. I do prefer that we go break 44.33. Anyone know why? This is a weekly profile here. Let me just hide this guy. Okay.
Minor resistance. Skinny belly.
It's minor resistance right here, but if you're able to establish value above current developing value area high on the weekly, it's a big deal, because right now what you have here is the prior week we had a really wide balance, right? So people were willing to explore the price higher or lower, right? You see that 85 points so far this year. This week's value area is 28 points, so that's what 33 34%. of total value. So it's being compressed, so there's not as many what?
Buyers.
Or
Buyers
Okay,
and
so-
sellers.
there's just not much participation at all.
They're in equilibrium.
They're literally so tight to the equilibrium right now that I think we'll close this week inside this value area somewhere, and that's only like 30 points, top to bottom. And you see how nicely today they broke inside, they held this, and then they proceeded higher. They broke. Surprised they didn't go here, but hey, that's okay. So now, you know, they're executing what? If you look at this price action, what is it? What's happening here?
80% rule.
80% rule is being executed. So ideally, what we want to see tomorrow, we want them right now not to execute this, right? We don't want them to explore this price. We want them to go here. So, and then fail, right? Don't break the PDH, stay in this range, and then give us the 80% rule. But I think we're going to go to 15 here shortly. Okay. So then on the daily profile, and I think we touched base today, but let's make sure we cover for the people that weren't there. Oh, what did I do? All right. The night before, you know, actually after the close, what did we talk about the B shape here? Anyone recall? Yes, Vendel, if you're on, don't, because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you said it was a squatty B shape, so it could turn into double distribution.
That's correct, yeah. So a squatty B shape, whenever this happens, that means if we break this POC right here, they can really have a pop. And what do they do? We struggle, then you got a nice pullback, and then you got an explosion from there. And I should have been short here. Okay. So right now, what is the profile telling you? Pay attention to all the details though.
Is it a B, capital B? I mean, it looks kind of like a D, but you got a lot of weight there on that bottom section.
It's
So it
definitely,
almost looks
it's
like a
definitely, I would say
multi-distribution.
it's still a D shape, right? But the value area is engulfing. You made a higher high at the same time, made a lower low, and the profile shifted down. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there was 4 questions you guys are supposed to ask yourself when you're trading, right? If the value area is moving higher and price is going higher, what should happen?
POC should go higher.
POC should eventually shift, right? It should fall over the price.
Yep.
And what else?
Are we still in the range?
If you're making new highs on the value, what should happen?
Price should also make a new high.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need also volume to make a new high. And what happened with volume?
Lower.
It was lower. So this move higher is not confirmed. And if somebody read the book that Matt Mardigan is reading, right, Markets in Profile, Steidelmeyer talks about something here. If the price is not agreeing, right, if you spike higher in the last hour just to kind of kill, you know, quantitative traders out due to the calls and delta, this has to be confirmed, and it has to be confirmed to the POC.
Yep. Next thing.
So kind of that's where we are, right? So hopefully that makes sense, and this is something that you guys will pick up. You know, the more you look at these profiles, I haven't met a person that's picked this up overnight yet. Okay. Any questions on this?
So for longs tomorrow, it's above prior day value high.
Well, on a breakout retest, that's the level, right? You really want that 44.30 to be broken. Or if you're playing a, kind of accumulation zone, if you just draw this level from here to the top, you should get your answer. Right. So from here, it looks like you have this level here. So between 414 and 412, you should get a bounce.
And for shorts, it's either like the 80% rule or below 12.
Below the, yeah, I would prefer it to be below this, but my bias turns bearish below the CPOC. That makes sense.
Yep.
But unless we have news or something, I'm anticipating us staying in this. So if you guys look now, you almost have like a 2-day balance that you can draw here, right? We're still in balance. Let me hide these so you guys can see it. Change this to 68. So you see the balance is right here. That's pretty much at 22, and the bottom is here at 407. So they're not really giving you much, but it's also good for risk management, right? If the risk is not high, the reward's not high, and vice versa. So this is truly now a bracketed market, and it's a wide bracket. And if you think about the whole thing here, right? So if I just grab the sell-off, let's grab to this low here. You see here, there's a massive shelf here that they have. So on the sell-off side, right, you want to be above this shelf in order to go long. But then you have 9 points higher, you have a SIG. The SIG break has the best reward for higher. See that? Like, I mean, it has the most space, and it really has a node here at 72, so at least 22 points, if that makes sense.
Those
Otherwise,
SIGs are, sorry, those SIGs are drawn from last week, basically, all of last week and then this week.
it's basically from this period here, right? So when we gapped up, so Thursday 8.
Okay,
So
when the contract changed.
Yeah,
Okay.
so contract change happened. There's your little gap, and then here's your CPOC, right? Maybe a little bit lower. Something like that, right? Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And now here's potentially more down. Let's see if they bounce it here or what they do. Okay. So is everybody okay with ES so far?
Yep.
Okay. All the way in Q.
Yeah.
Okay. So before I signed off, I don't know if you guys recall, what did I say about this 44 level? Being your own, I believe. Does anyone remember that was live on towards the end?
Yeah, you said it will tap it.
I said as soon as we close, they're probably gonna tap this, and we closed, and look what they did. They came really close. I mean, I think they came in 3 points away. So I'm not surprised they did that, right? So if you look at the picture now, was there anything in the way once they broke the shelf here, right? You see this? There's not much in the way there once they're able to break the shelf. So now if we come to this level here, like 190, you'd probably expect a bounce maybe a tad bit lower, somewhere around here. I'll probably put it on this shelf just to be, there's not much, right? So they can expect a bounce here. And then if you look at the upside, and I'll adjust these PD value areas, that's the easy part. So anywhere if it comes back to that 18 level, that becomes a bounce zone, right? So if they break this, then you know they're targeting 18, and that's 72 points on NQ. I think you guys would be okay with those.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'll just adjust these levels on SVP here. There's your PD.
Shorty, how much time do you have for that CPOC that you have marked right there?
Which one? This one? I'll show you. Okay. So what I did here, let me just delete it so you can see it. So when did we get in to the new range? So you see, once we broke this high here, we came back and we created the range bottom here, right? So from this range bottom, and I think we talked about this a lot last week, I mentioned that they're going to most likely go to some of these levels here. It was 49.61. I'm sorry, 49.79 that I was targeting. If you guys remember, and I can bring it up in Discord. 49.79 was what I was looking for, and that's where kind of they came right to it and rocketed right now. So if NQ really wants to go push, it needs to go break this area, right? It needs to break the CPOC here, and then it needs to continue higher, right? So they broke the CPOC, their sentiment somewhat bullish, but you see what's also here.
Yeah,
Yes.
huge resistance.
Huge resistance, but this is also your first sig here. This black line would be your first sig here, if I can grab it. So there's a lot. There's a huge shelf here, right? If I was to make this a little bit bigger. You see the shelf, it's giant shelf here, right? And then it seems like, yeah, giant, what's this red line here? Yeah. So giant shelf there, and then you see the POCs a little bit below that, right? The CPOC is right here, but you see that there's like almost a huge 2 shelves here. So there's a lot of volume in these levels. So once they broke that, you see that they gave you a tiny little retest and then they exploded higher. Okay, so same thing here. Most likely, I would say they're going to have to come back somewhere to 26 here. And if they break that 90, you know, they have a tiny little shelf here, 75-ish. Whoa, what is this candle on ES? Wow. What in the world was that? Is there news just now released or something?
I don't know, that was weird. Just watching it too.
I mean, that's some volume. They had 583 contracts there traded just now on this candle here, and all of them are aggressive buys. Wow. Okay. Sorry, I mean, I was on my other monitor. I'm looking at just a giant green candle in my eyes. Okay. Any questions on NQ or ES?
No, thank
All
you.
right. Well, I'll trade live tomorrow with you guys again, and we'll see what kind of damage we can do.
Shorty, could you take a peek at Tesla real quick? I
Yeah,
think it's
gotta
got a
hit
chance to go
304
to
yet.
271 tomorrow. 268 maybe.
How about your lunch? We reject here.
Okay. Yeah, I got a 265 call. I got for cheap, so.
Yeah,
I
it'll
don't
go
think long
tomorrow to
stuff.
267 to 269 and potentially 270. If
Okay.
you want it
Yeah,
to
I know.
run, they have to break
I'll-
270 tomorrow.
Right.
So I remember their volume was a little suspect here on this candle. I mean, you see the candle, the volume. There is buying here, right? But this, you have a bullish engulfing, and now you have a bullish piercing candle here. I don't, yeah. Nowhere. Guys need SPY, or you guys are okay with ES? Trying to figure out where you guys.
About Google. Microsoft.
Break 126.
Yep.
Nope. Nope. So still, I mean, you I don't think you want to trade this, but that's okay if you do.
Over 126 though.
It needs to break this line here, 127, and close above it, and then it goes to 141.
Okay.
Amazon out of the big boys is in the best spot.
Yeah, Amazon was pumping today.
Amazon's in the best location to run.
Amazon like 136 possible.
I think 145.
145.
So if you look here, we had this drawn, but I removed it earlier. They needed to break the shelf to go higher. And I mean, I would say this is a pretty good break.
Right.
Right. So they broke this, and tomorrow I'll tell you what happens here. So, and then you can come back and be like, let's fuck. And most likely he's gonna watch this level tomorrow. 126.5. I will definitely watch that level tomorrow on this. There's some exhaustion here. Late spike. Yeah, they're a little bit exhausted here. So losing 129 most likely sends it to 126. But it's in the best spot. AMD here, still not interested, right? So it still has a little bit to go. I mean, if you think about the 7-day candle, I mean, you don't just remove a candle like this. We're probably going to test here. I'm expecting this to come back to 97. I'm looking at target. It's just not ready yet for me to buy shares. I am watching this for us to see what happens, but it's just not ready yet. And I'll show you why. If they're, just think about this consolidation here, right? I'm on a monthly. If this is the consolidation and we broke it, just think logically, right? Do you think this is the move after you consolidated for 334 days?
Oh, hell no.
Okay, I mean, come on. I'm not stupid. This is not the move. This is going back down to $80, 76. So I see experts, but yeah, I'm telling you, this is headed $76. But be my guest as always. And I mean, if you think about this, right? SPY consolidated here for some time, and we got a much better move than that, right? If you think about Amazon on the monthly, well, when they consolidated for such a long period, we got a giant move here. Right? And Target, and this is not the move you're looking for. We want this to crash all the way down to about 80s. And I'll be a buyer here, of course. I'll be interested.
Shorty, can you do Rivian?
Sorry, what's that ticker? This one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remind me again, we talked about this one. Is this the US car company?
Loose. Rivian. Yeah, it's EV.
Yeah. SUV, adventure SUV.
Are they a SPAC or a real company now?
I have no
Wow,
idea.
they're really making
They're
cars.
they're in Supreme Loss, but it's a company.
I wouldn't touch it here. I wouldn't touch it here at all. $11. I would be interested to buy shares here. That's after I check their financials. Somebody posted something last time, but I just don't know what it was. But yeah, I would expect this to go here, and I'll probably set some alerts. I'll buy some shares here.
Some lucid shares at like 640.
That one is. I remember it now.
Hmm.
Oh, this one's this one's good.
How about Neo?
This one's good. Nah, Neo's going back to 7.
Oh wow.
Oof.
It's going 780. And somebody said this was a huge breakout coming. Just FYI. I'm not gonna name them, but yeah. If everyone sees it, I mean, most likely it's not a breakout. So I know this is a horrible trend line, but you get the point. I mean, yeah, sure, man. There's volume uptick here, but there's really, I mean, and this is volume uptick. This right here is not volume uptick. Okay. What else do you guys got? So I'm watching Clorox. I really want to get this company in my portfolio, so I'm being patient as it gets. This was my initial buy level. I just can't separate myself for 160 bucks a share on this company. I really want it on the bottom here, but this one consolidated for a long time as well, right? MM, we have this in our, well, I do, I don't know about you guys. This one is gonna most likely run. They got the, did you guys read the news on this?
No.
Yeah, they just they actually they just released the lawsuit that they had, right? So I mean, they're gonna pay the fine and move on. Does anyone remember anyone telling you this? They're just gonna pay the fine and stock rockets.
What's MM, Shorty?
3M.
3M. Yeah, the 3M that makes like the little tapes and stickies and
Oh,
masks.
okay,
And,
okay.
I mean, they make a bunch of shit.
Okay.
You guys recall that?
I remember something about it a while back, but not enough to.
Yeah. Well, anyway, so, and this is where they rejected now. So 106. Once we hop over 106, I would say they're most likely going there. 112, and then I'll be targeting this supply zone around. I'm not gonna sell the shares once it comes to this, like 126, because I really do believe that I'll be able to sell them a little bit higher. Like, and I'm talking about, you know, almost doubling my money. So idea is, you know, if it goes to this level, probably hit 148, you can trim some there, but eventually long-term hold, I think they're gonna target these liquidity zones here. Okay. All right, well, I think that's it for me, and let's see tomorrow how we do, and I'll keep you guys updated.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Shorty.
All right.
Sure.
Have a good day.
Thanks,
See you
good night.
tomorrow, buddy.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.
Thanks.
Good
Night. Good night. Thank you, Rockets.